Good morning, traders. How's everybody doing today? Hope your day is going great. Welcome to Wednesday. Pretty big news Wednesday here, 8:30 a.m. Central Time in the U.S. here. Stock markets are opening down just slightly. Dow's down 40, S&P's down 7, NASDAQ down 22. I just have the momentum meter up here to start things off. And I'd like to have you take a quick look here. The Swiss is the strongest by far. The Aussie on the hourly momentum meter has rolled down. And we're still seeing overall weakness with the Canadian dollar. I'm doing good, Sinead. Thanks. Doing real good. Aussie weakness, yen weakness, New Zealand weakness, CAD weakness. Dollar strength, euro strength, pound strength across the board here. So let's take a look at the trades. I got a couple interesting ones to show you right off the bat. Take a look at those. It's going, Alpha. So I wanted to show you 3 or 4 of these right away. First was the euro pound. This is the trade that Andrew and I were both in together. He had his own entries and things. I think he was long all the way through. I had my 2 winners here. And last night I sort of chickened out, and I had enough. I think I have like 5 trades or 6 trades going. So I chickened out and pulled my stops down and got stopped at 16 pips on the euro pound. 15 and a half, 16 pips. So I'm okay with that. As long as the winners are bigger than the losers, no problem there. All right. So I'm going to tuck that one away because I got some other interesting ones to show you as well. This was the trade idea that I had posted yesterday. We covered this in the stream last night. Hopefully you guys saw Nick's new video. He posted his monthly update video. Pretty cool. Had the outdoor screenshots, out in the park. Sort of a cool video. I liked it, actually. Quite a bit. This is the trade idea that I had posted yesterday on the Aussie dollar short. I think you can see that okay. If I get rid of the candlesticks, maybe it's a little easier. So this trade went up. My stop was at 75.45. And we are right in the dead center of the pip for the stop. So during the live stream last night, I was even getting stronger technical indicators to sell when the stop was here. And the reason I put the stop at this level was I wasn't quite comfortable enough putting it way up at the top of this wick. This is another, I think, 12 pips, maybe 11 pips up higher. And I didn't want to put it 4 or 5 pips above that because I would have cut my lot size way down. So I kept it at this point, took the hit right at the very pip. I mean, literally 75.45, sort of crazy. And then during the stream last night, decided to get short. I put a smaller lot size on than the first trade, but I got short with this one and kept the original target. And if you can, you should be able to see the little blue line. This is the target that I had on the first trade. I kept the exact same target. Nothing really had changed, and rode this one down all the way to the profit level. So the first trade closed out negative 23 pips or so, give or take a pip. And then the second trade closed out all the way at the full profit level at about 59. So overall, on these 2 trades, profitable, net profit overall on the Aussie dollar short. Not as clean, as pretty as I would have liked. Look, we all have these times. I mean, I when you're watching the room and you see Tony and Andrew, myself, and some of the other traders that post their ideas here, you put us right. I mean, we're putting ourselves on the spotlight, right? So we all have trades where it is going to stop out right at this tip, and you think the market's out to get you. You know what? Until I just said it right now, it never even crossed my mind. The market's not out to get me. I know better than that. But it feels that way sometime, So no big deal. I mean, during the stream yesterday, we just sort of shrugged it off and got our technicals all aligned and fundamentals and hit it again, but with a smaller order. The point of a stop is to stop you from losing money in a trade, right? So as soon as you hit as soon as you hit your stop, the number one reflex shouldn't be to sell it again, because why have a stop otherwise? But there was about an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes where I wasn't even in front of my charts here. So I like to have that stop there for a reason. I always use stops with all of my trades. I don't always set profits right away, but I have a goal profit. I have a target profit based on the percentage of my overall accounts. And you can take a little bit closer look at this. I mean, really right up right up to 0.8 pips. So crazy stuff. But overall, turn that mess into a profitable trade. So really nice. So the question becomes now, that's all good and all, fun and everything, but where are we going to go from here? I still think the Aussie dollar is going to go lower. We had this descending trend line that we respected. Can draw it however you like, but the point is it's there. We're going to see now we broke through the 75 level, which is a strong area of support on the Australian US dollar. Now we're sitting at 74.57, and we have our longer term swing, moderate term, not longer term, but moderate term 4-hour chart at 74.39. We'll call it 74.40. What happens to the Aussie dollar if we break below 74.40? If you look left, here's the support. There's really not a lot of support all the way down, is there? I think the Aussie dollar is going to go to the south. I think the Aussie dollar has room to go down. I'm not going to get in on the trade, though, because we have FOMC coming up. We have big news coming up, actually. I'm sure a lot of you know this already, but we had, where am I here? ADP non-farm employment change came in at 177K. Predicted or expected was 178. Previous was 255. So pretty much right on the money as expected. But we got big news coming out in about 20 minutes. The ISM non-manufacturing PMI, crude oil inventories at 9:30, and then of course the big monster FOMC. We're not expecting to see anything. I'm not expecting to see anything real crazy with the FOMC announcement. I don't think we're going to have any big shakeups, but I would expect a lot of volatility. I think today, now don't quote me on this, I could be wrong, but just from watching the charts all these years, with all the fundamental stuff that's going on and the price of oil and the dollar and Trump and all these things, I think that this FOMC, if we're watching, for example, the dollar yen, I think we're going to see it, rise up before. I think we're going to see it just sort of fall during or shortly after, and then regress back to the mean. So you're going to see this big blip, almost like you would see on a heart rate monitor. I think that's what it's going to be, but that's just a prescription for blowing out accounts and hitting stops and things. So I want to show you the gold trade we took last night. These lines are still coming up every time I load. Here, let me get rid of those. That's from when the U.S. You guys heard me say this a bunch of times. The U.S. voted to keep the government going until September at least. So here's the short that we had on gold that we took last night. My profit targets on gold were down a ways. You should be able to see them here. I'm going to get out of this trade now because I'm not going to be in front of my computer for a while. We're going to take our profit on that one. Profit on gold. I only have a 0.6 lot here, $210. So we're going to take that one off the table right now. Not because it's a bad trade, just because I'm not going to be sitting in front of my computer anymore. And I don't like to hold dollar-based trades, whether they're commodities or forex pairs, over the FOMC announcement. I still like silver to the downside. Take a look at this, this line that I keep drawing in. You can just keep extending it and extending it and extending it and extending it. Crazy. Silver's at 1666 right now. Currently took out our big key support level, sitting at around 1682-ish. Just one part of the reason that I feel gold is going to continue to move down. Can't bias everything on that, but pretty hard to argue with that trend on silver. Aussie New Zealand, we also took this one last night in the Asian session review. Aussie New Zealand currently up 40 pips. I don't trade Aussie New Zealand very often at all. I think all of you know that I don't trade New Zealand pairs very much. So I put a smaller lot size on. I put a 0.5 lot size. Made $136. Where am I going to do with this right now? I'm not too concerned with the Aussie New Zealand, to be honest, through FOMC. I see Aussie weakness coming into play, as we talked about before. Again, one thing I am not is a master of the New Zealand currencies. Aussie I feel a little bit more comfortable with. I don't know how well you can see that, but I usually, when I'm doing my own analysis and not doing things live, I change the color. If I have longer term fibs and shorter term fibs on the same chart, I'll make one a little bit thicker and one a little bit thinner. Something like this, just so you get a better idea of where I'm at. Maybe make one of them a different color. Something like that. You get the idea. So what we see is a, and I'm not basing my whole trade on this, but what we see is a confluence of signals, of levels, right down here. The two Fibonacci levels correlate quite well around 107.50s. That put us about 40 pips away. If we look left, see if there's any structure clues there. We're just a little bit below this area here of support. We also have this wick on the daily that came in on February 22nd. That line that I just drew in at 107.63 also matches almost exactly with the swing high wick from October. So that's going to be my short-term target. And again, I'm going to keep it as easy as that. I'm going to pull my stops down just a little bit. And I'm going to set my profit target at 107.66. So if we zoom her down to the 15-minute time frame and squish the chart up a little bit, I'll throw the levels up here just so you can see them. This is where my stop is at on the Aussie New Zealand. Again, I'm not going too big here. This is my profit level. This is my entry level. So currently Aussie New Zealand is up about 38 pips, give or take a few. My target is about another 28 pips down from here. I think if we make it down to the 107.50s, I think that's a pretty decent area to have a target on this currency pair. I don't expect a lot of volatility out of this either way after FOMC, but if anything, I would expect it to move down because of the at least short-term to moderate-term implied Australian weakness versus the New Zealand dollar. And New Zealand's pretty weak as well. If you look at the momentum meter from before, New Zealand's also pretty weak. So we have two weak currencies, at least currently right now, going against one another. So this trade's up about $135. Not too bad. Not too bad. So I'm going to let that one run. So Euro Pound, we got hit on that one, but not for much. What was it? 16, 17 pips. The Australian dollar, we took a hit of 20 some, or I did, took a hit of 20 some pips, 23, I think. And then we closed it up with almost 60 pips, 58, 59 pips of profit on that one. Gold, we took a nice little profit there to the downside. And now I'll tell you about my Euro Yen trade. I think some of you have been were on the stream last night, but this Euro Yen trade, I had a sort of neat opportunity yesterday in the afternoon. And I was talking on a three-way phone call, believe it or not. I mean, I do more Skype and texting and things like most of you do, instant messenger. But I was on a three-way phone call. It was just a regular phone call. It turned into a three-way phone call with two of the guys I used to trade with back in the old days. And I'm talking like longer than 10 years ago. And these are the guys, at least one of them is, the people I used to sort of wear the carpet out on the house, pacing back and forth, talking about trades back and forth, back and forth. And before we hung up, I won't mention any names, but one of the guys said, let's just get in on a trade together. And I said, all right. And we were talking about euro yen, and I said, I just told like over 2 streams that this was the, I'm not calling tops on the euro yen. I think it's due for a pullback, but I didn't want to call tops on the darn thing. And we all put this on together. So the 3 of us are short. The 3 of us have the same stop level, and currently down about 25 pips. So the thing, I sort of learned a little lesson like that. Yeah, it's fun to trade with my friends again that I've traded with back in the old days. But what I learned from that call is, at least one of them still trades the same way that we did back over 10 years ago when we used to lose our butts trading. So it was a good little lesson here. So I actually, I said this in the Asian stream review last night, that this was sort of a good reminder to me to, stick with all the things I've learned over the years. There's no doubt that I've been, in the forex markets a lot more than they have the last 5-6 years. But that's where we're at. So euro yen, just so you can see the levels here. I think 3 times during the stream last night I showed this trade, and I said this is the riskiest one by far because it goes against my normal trading rules. But I don't get the time to trade with those guys that often. I even had my other account up and I was going to put it there, and I said, no, I'm going to put it on this one because then I got to tell everybody about it, get some accountability. So my entry is at 122.37-ish, 122.38. My stop's at 122.80, I believe. So you have roughly a 40 pip stop. I don't have a profit level on there. We really couldn't come up with one. I mean, we were going to have it come down to the swing high of the gap, which have been huge, 120.74. Then we have the whole move downward. So I'm going to let it run, see how it goes. I don't recommend selling euro yen right now at all, as I've been saying this whole week to you guys. But that was one of those things where, just to be totally honest and transparent with everybody, like I always am, I put this trade on this account that I showed during my live streams just because I wanted to, explain my reasoning, and there really isn't a lot. So it's more of just the 3 of us getting together and all deciding to take a trade the same direction. So that one I'm going to let run, and I'm going to let that thing run right through everything, right through FOMC. Gold I'm out of. Silver I like to the downside. Euro pound I'm staying out of now until at least late tonight or tomorrow. Aussie New Zealand I'm still short in. Aussie dollar I'm out of. We had the winner and the loser. Overall winner. The winner was I think it was a little bit over double the pips of the loser. Although the lot size was smaller, it was still overall profitable between those 2 trades. I still like yen weakness. Risk is sort of on in the market right now, even though I have the sell euro yen. I still like a weak Canadian dollar. We talked about crude yesterday quite a bit, and how price action on crude broke through the 48.20, pushed all the way down into the 47s, low 47s, came back up, retested the 48.20-ish area a couple of times, and now it's sort of stuck at 47.80. We got our longer term, I think most of you know this though, we have our longer term support coming in right at 47.05, 47.07. And then if we break through that, game off to the downside on crude. So crude weakness, as well as the dairy and the lumber thing I've been talking about with the Canadian dollar, I think the Canadian dollar will still continue to go on to be one of the weakest currencies here, as I've said for the last week or two already. Is it due for a pullback though? Absolutely. I mean, the thing won't go straight up and not pull back at all. Currently, the dollar CAD, we pull back about 30 some pips. I'd be more prone to take a long on the Euro CAD or Pound CAD. The Euro CAD is only pulled, well, it's about the same, 30 some pips. I've been very bearish on the Canadian dollar for weeks now. So again, we got the big news coming out in 10 minutes. ISM non-manufacturing. I just see something from Daily FX come through the news feed. It says long silver on oversold stochastics. Yeah, I don't trade just based on stochastics, that's for sure. It's a red open for US stocks. Yeah, but just call it a red negative open, but it's 0.2%. I mean, it's dollar yen spikes to fresh highs ahead of FOMC. Okay, get the idea. Trump had a couple tweets here. You know what's interesting about Trump's last post on Twitter? FBI Director Comey was the best thing that ever happened to Hillary Clinton that gave her a free pass for many bad deeds. The phony Trump-Russia story was an excuse used by Democrats as justification for losing the election. Perhaps Trump just ran a great campaign. I mean, now he's speaking in third person. I don't know what's up with that. If there's one thing about Trump I can tell you, because I try to not get into politics very much here. I mean, that's trading has a lot to do with politics. But I, along with a lot of other people, would just like it if he would stop talking about the election. It's already done. Been done for a long time. He won it. Usually the people that complain about that kind of thing are the ones who lose. But it is what it is. We know what's there. Let's see what we got here in the chat. US Mexican, I don't trade that one. Morph says 99% euro dollar going down because no more buyers to push it higher in my view. Got it. Mr. Maz says I took Aussie from 74.42, 75.42. Good job. Yeah, Tom, that's right. Stop to the pip. That can be painful. The nice thing is we recovered and made money on the trade. So the trade was still intact. You know, and I talked about this. I don't know if you were on or, you know, exactly who was watching last night during the Asian review. But the trade was still in place. The trend lines were still there. The head and shoulders pattern was still there. The sort of pseudo triple top everything was still there. I just had my stop too close because I wanted to put it in a larger lot size. And I wasn't comfortable just letting it run all the way up there without. And you can see here, if I pull that up on the hourly sort of shrunken candlesticks here, so you can see my stop right here at 75.45. To put my stop above this swing, which is where it could have been, would have also been outside of this descending trend line. And of course, this swing high here, the next level of resistance to the upside is declining as this trend line goes. So I had to pick a point somewhere between this. What I basically did is put it above the swing high to the left. You know, this sort of head and shoulders here on the hour. This wasn't formed yet, of course. I put it above this swing high, 6-7 pips or so above this one, looking to see this trend line decrease, and missed it by 1 pip, but that's okay. Onward and upward. When you risk 0.5%, 1% of your account, whatever it is per trade, you don't get too stressed out about it. We made back more than that, so I'm good with it. But it is tough. It is tough. I need to see that happen. We're even seeing silver push down lower right now. Thanks, Tim. Nice work, Jason. I got stopped 2 at the tick. Hey, Shay Baby. Yeah. Shay Baby, you got stopped at the tick as well, I'm assuming here. Yep. Were you on last night? I'm not sure what time zone you're in. Did you get back short with us again? Lee Rebecca says same. Looks like market maker stop hunter. Yeah, nice work. Sanij, by the way, Jason, on the big position on oil made big winners. Great. Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday morning, right? So were you short on oil? I had thought you were long on that, Sanij. Jobs will be stronger this week. Trump seems to love crowing about everything like that. Pretty negative line, right? Upside long, wait for the pain unless there's nothing. Yeah. Potter says dollar's maybe going to go on a tear. Could be. Hey, Joey, what's up? Happy birthday, site. That's right. Nick and the guys and gals here at Forex Signals have been in this online for 5 years now. They started with Forex, I think it was forexlivetrading.info, I think it was. He had a good blog post. If you haven't looked at the blog, take a look. He wrote a real nice blog post about that. Yeah, right on, Joey. FOMC statement today. Yeah, just Powder. I'm scrolling through this chat a little bit behind, but just like the old days, then Jay losses. That's right. That's right. We'll see. I mean, you know, in hindsight, the euro yen could fall, but it's definitely not something that I would take. And I had 2 people private message me and one also on Skype. They said, "What do you think about euro yen? Is it a good time to sell?" I said, contrarian view, yes. Divergence view, yes. My strategy is now, no, not at all. Because if you try to call tops, you're going to make a lot of money sometimes. You're going to lose a lot of money sometimes. And it's just, for me, over all the years, it's not consistent and reproducible. But this one was fun because I haven't traded with those guys for a long time. So it's sort of fun to watch that. Ladybug, dollar yen will be closing long just under 112.50. And sell limits in there. Oh, nice job. Really good trading there, Ladybug. Yeah, you've been having some good trades. I think yesterday you had a couple winners in there too that I remember seeing. Potter, that is hilarious. We put a trade on just like the old days. That is so funny. That is hilarious. I gotta save that. Yeah, we can take a look at NZD. You got a twister fire. New Zealand dollar. Take a look at that. New Zealand dollar is doing a similar thing. It's not at all the same pattern, but a similar thing to the Australian dollar right now. You know, if you flip through on your momentum meter, you can see New Zealand and Aussie are both weak. I sort of touched on that a little bit during the Aussie-New Zealand trade that I'm into the downside. New Zealand dollar sitting at 69.10. The weekly chart's looking to push lower. Daily chart, of course, same. I'm going to shrink this down just a little. I just don't feel like the New Zealand dollar is... Excuse me. I don't feel like the New Zealand dollar is quite as clean as the Aussie dollar to the downside. Definitely, if you're going to be in any trade with the New Zealand dollar, I feel that you should be to the downside. We had the push up, of course, yesterday with the news. The unemployment rate was better than expected. Employment change was better than expected at 5:45 Central Time yesterday afternoon. That popped us up. The market quickly said, nah, not really. 56 pips down since then. The one thing that I was looking at with it yesterday was this area here. And you can see we're sort of, you know, you can use your imagination here, but this is sort of a, excuse me, gosh, sort of a trend line of support here. Now we got some big news coming here. Let me just toggle this away for a minute. Got the big news coming out. ISM. Non-manufacturing PMI 56.1 expected. We got a little delay here with the video always, so bear with me, guys. You know, we got like a 10-second delay when I'm live streaming. Better than expected. 57.5, as you all probably know by now with my delayed stream. So that's good news for the USD. That should send dollar yen up a little bit. If we use the 1 minute time frame, just for dramatic effect. Trying to get caught up with this chat here. Sorry, guys. Jason, will you be flat into the weekend with the French elections, or will you go long on a euro pair into the weekend? RJ Woosley. I will definitely be flat with the French elections. There's another thing that is coming up, of course, on Friday. We have NFP Friday, non-farm payrolls. So Tony will be streaming that live, I believe. And then Andrew will come on along with myself, and we're going to do our Skype joint stream together right after Tony's stream on Friday morning. And then we'll talk about our trades then. So that'll be a really good time to touch on what happened in the week, what we're looking for over the weekend and the week to come. And my trades will definitely be flat. The only time I hold trades through news releases, the big ones, even like ISM like this, which isn't giving us a lot of reaction here, is when the trade doesn't involve the currency pair. For example, Aussie New Zealand during FOMC. I'm okay with that. Euro pound, I'm okay with that. That kind of thing. What else? I think I'm missing some here. Oil DXY, class. Nice job, ATX. Took your Aussie short and had my stop at 63. Woke up to TP. Sorry, 53. Nice job. Nice job. Yeah, this is the Aussie trade. If you're tuning in just a little bit late, because I'm scrolling through the chat here a little behind. This is the trade that we had. Got stopped out right to the pip during the Asian review live stream yesterday. Took it short again and then picked up 59, 58, 59 pips to the downside. So still ended up making profits on that one overall. Yeah, Ladybug, you got it. Geo calls work perfectly right on. Yeah, Joey, very nice. Very nice. All right, I'm going to get focused back on some trades here. Good ISM. Juan Pablo, you got it? No problem. I don't know how to say this, though. Leanne? GZI? You got it. Andrew and I spoke on Skype after he posted his Euro pound short trade idea. And you might remember yesterday, I was saying, look, I got to get some trade ideas out here because my trading performance has been pretty darn good, for a while now. I've been putting everything that I take here in real time, aside from a few scalps I do when I'm not streaming on my own separate account off to the side with a different broker. And Andrew posted his trade idea, and then I thought, I got to get one out here. Which one should I pick? And I was trying to pick the one to take. Aussie seemed to be the safest one, so that's the one that I put out there. But some of these others were pretty good as well. I mean, the Aussie New Zealand we talked about, gold short. If you take a look at the short that I had covered on gold last night, if you look at, let me zoom this way in on the 5 minute. So this is the sell that we had on gold. I mean, this thing really did not go against us. Now there was a little spread here, of course, because it's a 5 minute time frame. Let me see what the spread is here with this broker right now. The spread on this one is about 28 cents or so. So we have a 28-cent spread. This was actually right about the area where we took it short. And the thing just really didn't go against us at all. So those are the kind of trades that I really like. Obviously, we had this rolling over appearance to gold. This won't be precise, but you get the idea. This sort of rolling over. My stops were up above. It was a decent trade to the downside. Aussie New Zealand still doing nicely. For me, one of the questions I've been trying to, cover with myself here on my own trading, just thinking out loud here with you, is which pair, which cross, and what entry point am I going to be confident enough to jump back on a CAD trade? Euro CAD, dollar CAD, pound CAD. I don't trade the Aussie CAD really ever. I don't think I ever have. And I'm not just quite there yet. I don't think I have enough of a pullback to get confident. So that's something I'll be watching later on tonight once I get back. Euro Aussie, we had these two trades. We had the winner up here for 100 and some, and then we had the short that I took yesterday or the day before for 30 some pips. Other than that, I haven't touched it. I do like it to the upside. Obviously, this new fresh bout of Australian currency weakness, helping this out. The numbers for the French elections are all, every poll is showing that Le Pen is going to be the loser. And the winner is very into strength of the euro and not breaking things up. So there more than likely will not be a Frexit. That's a funny word, isn't it? Frexit. Let's see. Eastwood's, yeah, it's probably too much. 1250 is my entry for long, I believe. Thanks, Jenny. Trading gold is fun, right, Joey? I mean, there's a lot of movement there, definitely. You don't get the crazy high leverage, but, if you're doing a good trade and you're trading with your set risk, you shouldn't need all the leverage anyway, of course. MR Maz at Jason, now that I closed out on my Aussie dollar sell, any thoughts on a good re-entry down? Good question. Very good question. Let's take a look at that together. Yes and no. Because we have this triple bottom here, that head and shoulders. Remember we talked about the neckline and the price projection, 1-to-1, all that kind of good stuff. If you look left, and if I just scroll my chart over here, we have this real nice area to the upside of possible resistance here. We projected that price over. It was also basically our neckline on the head and shoulders. So a really good entry, if you wanted to get a good entry on Aussie dollar short, would be all the way back up at 74.90, 74.85, somewhere in this range. I don't know if we're going to get that far. And then you have to reassess everything again after FOMC. So if you're looking to get short, you can do one of two things. You can have a aggressive entry, which would put you short right up around this area, 74.70s, waiting for about a 10 or 12 pip pullback. And then you have a more conservative entry short, which would be right at or just shy of this black line, 74.89, somewhere in there. So this would be entry 1, 74.70s, low 70s, or 74 upper 80s. This one would be more ideal. Basically, to make the long story really short, if you're going to be getting short Aussie buck, I think somewhere in this gray area, the higher it rises, the better deal you're going to get, the tighter stop you can have, the potentially larger lot size you can have to be short Aussie dollar. I just don't like getting back in on it right now ahead of FOMC because I like to let all that stuff sort of settle out. If you want to get in on a trade now and let it go through FOMC, then I'd be more motivated to talk with you about buying something like the Euro Aussie instead. So that's a very good question, actually. I like that one. What do we do now? If Aussie is still weak, how do we make profit if we've already taken out the profits targets number one? So what I would do is this, just to make it really simple. I would look to re-enter on a pullback on the Euro Aussie to the upside, or I'd wait until after FOMC, which comes out in about 4 hours from now, roughly. Let that settle, and then get back short after FOMC. To get an entry in the Euro Aussie, it's a little touchy right now because we're coming up on this swing high, 46, 45-ish, 46.50. Got about 20 some pips to go. If you look left, there's really not a great pullback area, maybe around 45.70s. That's still 50 pips down. So one of the reasons that Euro Aussie is my favorite pair to trade is that when it goes, and we don't see a lot of pullbacks. It just makes up its mind and it just pushes. So sometimes the train leaves the station without you on board, but that's okay. That's okay. There's going to be more. Yeah, you got it. I try to make it simple. You know, as you all know, when I do these live streams, and I'm going to idle this one down here in a little bit because I got to do a audio recording here and a little video as well before I head out. But as you know, when I do these live streams, I try to always just make things simple and make it reproducible, make it consistent. But after being deep in, like really deep into the markets for over 10 years, there's a lot of stuff going on in my mind that's, you know, deeper, sort of higher level type things, right? That I just don't cover much because I don't think they're as important as the big stuff. The big simple stuff, I think, is the way you're going to make the most money. So I try to keep the analysis very straightforward, something that everybody can look at and have a discussion about whether you're a seasoned veteran or you're a newbie. You know, you can see the levels, you can make sense on pullbacks and support resistance and patterns and things like that. Because that's the stuff that's going to be reproducible for you. When it gets into higher level things, you know, like fundamentals and how they tie in and how the market's reacted to different news events over months and years and, you know, different things like that. I mean, that takes a lot of time to study, and it's like it's an art, really. And art is open to discussion. You know, there's some people that think the most valuable works of art are just nasty and they wouldn't take them for free. Other people can see just a brush of paint on a canvas and they think it's worth millions of dollars. So it's sort of like that with trading analysis once you've been around it long enough. But I like to keep it easy. Keep it simple. Gold and silver still pushing down. Gold broke through the 1250, sitting at 1249.25 now. And what we're probably going to see is some erratic sort of volatility ahead of FOMC. Again, I'm not expecting a lot out of FOMC. If you're tuning in late, I think we're going to have sort of that heartbeat pattern that you'd see on an EKG. Going to see a big rise and then a fall and then a regression back towards the mean. That's what I think is going to happen. And like the dollar yen, the euro dollar, that type of thing. So I'm not looking at putting on anything new. The only trade I have running right now is a sell on the Aussie New Zealand. Yeah, it's funny. Interwebs, I like it. All right, everybody. I'm going to sign off for now. I'm going to put together a little daily overview for you and then put a little bow tie on some audio here with Dominic for our interview with Steady Capture. We'll get that up on the site. And then I'll be back later on today to chat. I know we have, let me look at the schedule here. Andrew will be doing the London Forex Market Wrap at noon Central Time. So he's going to be popping in an hour before FOMC. So interested to see how he's going to go with that. I still like that. I still like that meme. We put a trade on just like the old days. That was great. I'm going to save that one for sure. I'll talk to you all later. Have a great day. Be safe. If you're not sure about a trade, if you're not sure if you should keep it on or take it off, just take it off. You know, the market's here. I mean, 24 hours a day, 5.5 days a week. Listen to someone who's been down the road of losing a lot of money way back in the day. Just take your time. Be patient. And when you look back in the weeks and months, you'll see it pays you off in spades. Have a great day. See you later.